What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the His and Hers Podcast. This is episode number 10.
10, y'all.
10. We're just playing around with it. So today we have a lot to talk about. We actually wanted to expand on a topic that we already kind of briefly discussed a little bit a couple of weeks back when we were talking about conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
But we really wanted to circle back to DIA.
Yeah, so we had a lot of questions actually and a lot of comments in regards to the conspiracy theory with DIA. And we actually, you know, we live here in Denver. We're at DIA quite often. We've flown through there quite a bit. So we thought that maybe it would be, you know, kind of cool to go over what we know, what we've seen in person, and maybe answer some of your questions and kind of go down the conspiracy road.
I can't wait. And also, we're going to talk about some superstitions.
Okay, cool.
I want to ask you about them.
Very cool.
So,
I love talking about stuff like this. So welcome to episode 10, y'all. Thank you guys so much for being here. Whether you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or here on YouTube for the visuals. Make sure you guys are subscribed. We're here for you every single Monday. So welcome back.
Did we say our names? I didn't even.
Nope. I thought maybe you were having an off day.
No. I'm David Cisneros, and this is my beautiful wife, Nikki Glamour.
Hi, guys. What's up? Welcome back to the His and Hers Podcast, y'all. So before we get into this, I want to give you a special shout out. And this episode is brought to you guys by AdamandEve.com. If you have not heard about them, they are the #1 leading in the market for lingerie as well as adult toys in the stores. They are known to help keep the spark in your relationship alive. So you can get anything from lingerie, bachelorette, bachelor party gifts, as well as any toys. You can get games. There's actually a board game that you and I are going to be playing here soon, and it's called Monogamy. Okay, it's a play on Monopoly.
It's like Monopoly.
Yes, but instead of pulling cards to, like, you know, gain property, you're like losing a clothing item, or like, you know, you're doing something a little sensual. So I can't wait to get it, guys.
I'm gonna purposely lose.
You have to be fair, babe. You have to play for real. Okay.
I'll play for real.
You guys always ask how we keep the spark alive. You know, we keep it interesting. We keep it, you know,
Gotta
a little
keep on your toes.
Yeah, we got to experiment a little bit. Yep. So definitely check out Adam and Eve. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring this episode of the His and Hers Podcast. Definitely check out our link down in the description. You can check them out at AdamandEve.com. Use our code HISXHERS. You can get 50% off one item plus free shipping anywhere in the US and Canada, folks. So make sure you take advantage of that, especially for Christmas. Okay.
50%?
50% off of one item. It doesn't matter which item, you know, it does not matter whether it's lingerie for your mans for Christmas, you know, something a little cute, put a bow on it. But definitely take advantage of this code now while you're Christmas shopping and get something cute for your boo. Thank you to Adam and Eve for sponsoring this episode of the His and Hers Podcast. Now let's dive into the conspiracy of DIA.
Yes. Let's get deep. As in underground.
You don't.
That was such a good read. No lie, Nikki just barely went over that read like 5 minutes ago.
Shut up. Don't be telling my secrets.
That's how good she is at this. Like, she was like, let me see. All right. She just comes through and does it like it was a commercial.
Weird because I have to write it down. I can read it, but you see how you were sitting here and I have to write, like, I have information here about DIA and I have heard it and I have read it, but for some reason I have to write the things down for my brain to be like, okay, you've retained it. It's crazy.
I think I'm that way too.
Are you that way as well?
Yeah. I'm pretty good. Usually if I read something, then I'll retain it. But that was when I was younger, and I was like,
when you were
now I'm not so young, so now I'm just kind of like, I don't pay that much attention. But
maybe you didn't pay attention back
if I write it down,
even now. Okay,
good.
Let's not lie.
I pay attention.
So let's talk about DIA. So y'all know I love me a good conspiracy.
Beautiful airport.
Yes, it is a gorgeous airport. Yep. It is a very
I'm sorry. Can I say that I get upset every time I land into DIA?
Why?
Because I get mad that other people get to fly into DIA and they go to like a nice airport when they get to their destination. You know, they're like, oh, it's nice. And usually when I fly, I land in another airport and I just get kind of mad. I'm like, Man.
Because all the other airports are so janky in comparison. Man. No offense, y'all. But look, I come from Dallas, and so I can say this. DFW is jank. Look, okay, it's janky. Yeah. It is not updated. It's not modern. You know, it's a smaller airport, and that's why I was very confused as an outsider coming in when I moved here years ago, coming into the Denver International Airport.
Go big or go home, baby.
Huge it was. You have to get on an actual train to get to baggage claim because there are different concourses. That it is huge. So apparently by land mass alone, you guys, it is the biggest airport in the nation. It is twice the size of Manhattan, y'all, here in Colorado. And it is located about 30 minutes outside of Denver. So it was actually scheduled to be built and up and running in 1993.
Yep.
Now, the price tag for this airport was already a whopping $2 billion with a B, hard B, dollars.
Yeah.
Okay, it was a $2 billion budget to build this airport. Now, you being a native here in Denver, you remember the good old days with the Stapleton Airport.
I do not remember the Stapleton
Airport.
You
remember the Stapleton? Why you lying?
I do not remember.
Why you lying?
Because if it was built in 1995... I didn't get on a plane until 2001, so
I mean,
I was a little
do
kid.
You remember like planes flying near Denver?
A little bit.
You do? Because apparently, you know, the original Denver airport was located in Stapleton, which is super, super close to Denver. Yeah. And you actually mentioned in our other episode that it seemed like planes were so close to, like, it was going to land on the highway.
Yeah, there's pictures where, like, you're on the highway driving and there's, like, an overpass. And there's just like an airplane just going over the overpass.
That's crazy. Like, if we can find it, we'll put it here for you guys so you can see. That picture. Like, it was so close in proximity. Now, I was like,
can you imagine Denver traffic?
Oh my God.
If there was a fucking airport right there.
It is already so bad. It is already, Denver traffic is already so bad because people moved here like in influx in like 2014, 15?
Shortly, right.
It was after the legalization of marijuana.
Yes,
and
devil's lettuce.
All of a sudden, everybody was, look, I moved here before it was tight. Okay, I moved here before it was cool. Oh. And so it was the minute that happened, our traffic was really, really bad. So I can't even imagine if they still had the airport in Stapleton. So there was a legitimate reason to want to move the airport.
All the delays because they could only get so many flights in and out per hour.
Right.
There's not a lot
there
of runways.
Weren't many runways. So apparently,
like 50,000 hours in delays.
They would have like planes that were circling around waiting for, the right time to land. So there was, issues with that and being able to fly in and out. So that was the legitimate purpose to why they wanted to build this new airport. That was a whopping $2 million.
Makes sense for me. Oh, to be clear, I'm on the fence about it.
You're on the fence about what? What are you talking about? You are not being clear at all. What are you doing?
To be clear, I don't know.
You don't know.
I'm sorry, I cut you off for that. I was gonna be more decisive in my statement, but I started thinking about like all the information. I was like, there might be something there. Because at first I was gonna be like, you know what? I don't think there's anything there, but there might be.
Okay. Don't pay attention to him. I'm telling y'all all the tea. Okay.
Yeah, I'm spooked out now.
So they decide to move to this middle of nowhere area. It's kind of by Green Valley Ranch, if you guys know anything about like the Denver area. So it's like east. It's east. It's not west. So west is like where our mountains are.
Like we're going towards Kansas.
There's nothing over there. So they decided to have this huge amount of land and they started working on the construction of the Denver International Airport. Now, like I said, this was supposed to be scheduled to open in 1993. However, there were a lot of construction issues apparently that caused major delays in the construction and in the open time frame for the airport to be, open and up and running and having people fly in. So there were so many delays, in fact, that the airport didn't end up opening up until February of 1995. So 2 years later, 16 months to be exact, from the original scheduled opening date.
When I talk about DIA, I kind of tend to lean towards like, I don't think really there's anything going on.
Well, okay, let's start off this conversation by asking, do you think that there's a conspiracy with this airport?
That's what I was trying to be clear on.
Okay, well, we're not being clear at all. So I'll just go ahead and ask.
I don't.
Okay. Well,
okay, maybe for the...
you need to pick a side.
I am on the side.
You cannot be on the fence. If you are going to be doubtful, then say you don't believe.
Hold on, but wait. I think that there is something because of just the amount of money that they paid. Okay. So, and also the buildings, that's undeniable.
Right.
So, but
yes
for the other reasons why people think that there's something going on, I don't really agree with. But I agree that it's Colorado, there's a lot of
I think that there's something a little bit sketch going on in DIA. Mm-hmm. I can firmly stand in that. Unlike you, I'm not on the fence. I think that there is something going on with that airport. It is very weird. Yeah. It has such a weird feeling, and I'll get into that a little bit further into this podcast, but I am not on the fence about this at all.
So you do think that
I think that there's something weird going on.
Okay, let's go over the information that we have, and then at the end, we'll tell each other what we think is going on there.
Okay, cool. So can I go forward? The airport finally opens up in February of 1995, but before that, let's rewind just a little bit before the opening of the airport, because we're going to talk about this one thing and kind of go down some of the different weird aspects to the airport. Mm-hmm. About a year prior to the opening in 1994, I believe it was in March, there was a time capsule put in one of the entrances. I want to say it's the east entrance of the airport. And there is a capstone. On this capstone, it's said to be opened by the people of Colorado in the year 2094. And keep in mind, this capsule was put there in 1994. And it's supposed to contain memorabilia from that time to the people in 2094. And also, there's the name of the mayor at the time, the name of, governor. Do you remember? It was the governor at the time, as well as the Secretary of Travel. His last name was Pena.
Peña.
You ain't gotta say it. Yes, Ricardo Peña. Okay? Peña. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. So it had their names on the top, and then it had like a quote, like saying, this is a capsule full of memorabilia. Basically, open it at this time.
And it had the Freemason logo with the words "New World Airport Commission."
Yes. So
which set everybody off.
If you don't know what the Freemason symbol looks like, I'll put it here for you guys. Mm-hmm. So this is right smack dab in the middle of the capstone. This capstone is very eerie to some people, and because of the title that they put on this, which was New World Airport Commission, which evidently, actually, with research from others, I would like to tell you guys to go check out Stephanie Harlow's video on DIA conspiracy.
Yeah, she just watched it. It was great.
So thorough, man. She did such a good job. So if you want the ins and outs, definitely go to her channel. Evidently, the New World Airport Commission does not currently exist. It is not in existence. It is no longer a group. However, back in 1994, it was.
Yes.
And
but it's kind of like a glorified party planning committee is what I got out of it.
I think so. Because it was only around between like 1988 to like 1996 or something like that.
And they just kind of like put together the whole like capsule ceremony.
Yeah, and then they like pieced out and now they don't exist anymore. So their names are on this capsule. That commission no longer exists. So there's this plaque and this capstone,
New World Order,
from the New World Airport Commission. So people have translated that to be a direct piece of evidence that this airport was put together with the New World Order.
I feel like people, when they see the words New end world, like conspiracy theorists.
It's like, oh,
they're just like, oh fuck.
Yeah, it is scary for me. I get a little booty tight when I see those two words together.
Like you can be like, oh man, I'm just kind of new to this whole world. It's like, oh, whoa, what? Did you say new world?
The new
in that sentence? So I feel like that's just kind of like a trigger word.
Do you not get a little nervous when you see New World, like New World?
Yeah, I do, but I just
do you know what the New World Order is?
Yeah, so it is going to be a universal government for the whole world where they're going to decide who gets to survive in this new world.
Okay.
And there's going to be only one currency for the entire world. They're going to save the world. It's basically just going to be a one world government when shit hits the fan.
You're talking about this in first person. Are you involved in the New World Order? Do I need to be aware of something?
No, they didn't do it now.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be this. We have these plans. It's supposed to go in effect on this year.
I'm not supposed to say anything. They do training for those people where they take them, like the officials that get selected to go into those bunkers. Mm-hmm. They take them, like the vice president, the president, for 6 days, and they're told not to tell anybody where they're going, not even their wives. And if I was a part of that, you would have found out by now.
You damn Skippy, I would have found out by now.
There'd been no way that I could come back
your ass.
after 6 days.
6 days?
And you're like, where the fuck were you? And I'm like, I can't tell you.
They'll kill me.
I'm like, you'll kill me.
Yeah, that's true. I would kill you first.
Yeah,
because I wouldn't believe you. I'd be like, oh, you got some secret work mission? Really? That's what you're calling her? Okay.
Yeah. I was practicing for Doomsday.
Fast forward, 1995 comes around. The airport is up and running. They start taking incoming travelers, and the airport is actually stunning, outwardly and inwardly. The way that they built this airport, obviously, it is a $4 billion airport, or so they say, and it is structured with these white tents on the outside of the building, and they're supposed to be reminiscent of the Rocky Mountains that are here in Colorado, but they actually serve a bigger purpose than just appearance. They actually create clean air for the patrons inside of the airport, and it's non-polluted air, and it's said that those tents actually breathe, and you can't hear it, you can't see it, but if you really look on the outside, they do move, and that's because they're working and they're generating oxygen for the people inside. So it is crazy, because when I first started when I first flew into DIA, I was like, why is this big? Because I told you before, I got lost in DIA. So then after that, I really delved into the research of DIA and why it was so big and why it was structured that way. And when it said that the building breathed on its own, I was like, the fuck? Like, this airport breathes? So yes, it does breathe. And you were receiving probably the cleanest air ever inside of that building. So that's pretty cool.
It is fresh.
It has a huge security system. You have to go through a huge security layout before being able to enter the terminals, obviously. Now let's talk about the inside of the airport. Inside of the airport, there are certain artworks that are on the wall, a few of which are actually infamous because
What's the 2 murals?
It's 4, actually. They're from the same artist. The 2 that are the most infamous are the ones in regards to quite possibly the end of the world and then the New World Order.
So the 2 murals that are painted by Leo Tanguma.
Tanguma,
kind of a local Chicano artist. And he has the 2 murals that you're talking about. The one you're referring to where there's like devastation with the soldier.
Yeah, what's
that
it called?
One is called Children of the World Dream of Peace.
Okay, so that one is the one.
Should we describe the painting?
We should describe the painting.
So there's kind of like a soldier dressed in green.
It's very reminiscent of the Nazi uniform.
He has a gas mask on.
Yep.
He's brandishing a sword and a big ass gun. And then to the left of him, there's like a wall or like a bridge of women holding babies crying. They look like they're dead. And then the soldier's sword is actually stabbing a white dove.
It's supposed to be the dove of peace.
The symbol of peace, right?
Yep.
And then there's like a building and a wall on fire underneath him. And then there's like kids that look scared or hiding or they're sleeping or something.
They look like they're under the ground. There's women crying with
like dead
deceased
babies.
Children in their arms. It is a very morbid, very dark painting.
Right. And then on the other half of it,
so it is a 2-part artwork. So there's one wall that contains this piece of artwork that we just described. And then on the other wall, right across from this one,
on the second half of it, the soldier is dead.
Mm-hmm.
He got dealt with. And there's 2 doves sitting on his gun.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a bunch of kids of a bunch of different nationalities and races. And they are destroying his sword. And they're all holding up a sign that says peace in many different languages.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a rainbow cascading across them.
It's very joyous and celebratory.
Yeah, very like victorious. Mm-hmm. Like there's peace and harmony. So these 2 pieces of art are displayed in one of the main areas of
the
DIA
Jefferson
terminal,
I believe.
Yes. Yep. So it's a main point. A lot of people see it. I came across the former painting, the one with the gas mask guy. When I flew into DIA, that was the one that I saw first. And it really was weird. I think I was in a hurry. I didn't really get to look at it that well, but I just remember seeing it and being like, what the is that?
I think it would be weird if you just saw that one by itself and you didn't realize that
it's a 2-parter.
There was another part to it that kind of explained the whole thing. But people think that this is kind of like an outline or a map of how
what's going to happen.
Yeah, what is going to happen. So they think that that's in reverse, but
in reverse meaning that we have like, peace now.
This is what it is now, and then this is what it's going to be.
This guy is going to come and
but I'm just like
wreak havoc, and there's going to be like death. And
my whole argument to that is, one, the world's not like that. So that is not what this world is. And also, the shit that's happening in the first painting with the soldier, that shit has actually already happened. Like, you know what I mean? True. Like, this is some crazy, scary fantasy. It's shit that literally already happened.
But I present this question to you.
Yeah.
Why this type of mural in an airport?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
It's great art. It's very powerful stuff, man.
There were complaints from patrons saying that this artwork scared their children. Because this isn't like
your children are soft.
A little bit. Shut up. This isn't like a little bit, weird. This is dead children.
It's very uncomfortable.
This is guns painting, and swords and blood. There are other murals by the same artist that contain even more, death in his murals. But
when he explains it, though, because he does explain what he meant with that painting, and that was that. This is kind of the world and the bad side of humanity, and that ultimately this is what the children dream of is peace, not war.
Okay.
So I do believe him that I don't think, because he's like an older dude, and I do believe that this is just how he's painted his whole life. And there's one thing I know: you're not going to tell an old Chicano dude what the fuck he's going to paint. Unless he's painting your house.
So let's talk about the artist. He actually was hired, and they paid him $100,000 to do these artworks for the airport. And he did an interview where he did state that he had creative freedom over the entire concept, that the Airport Commission did not, the New World Airport Commission did not give him any guidelines or tell him what he had to paint, and that he did it all on his own. However, there is the journalist that apparently interviewed him before, very briefly, and he told her yes, they gave me guidelines to follow. And she said, okay, can I come by and interview you about this? And they had a scheduled time. The meeting never happened, and then after that he claimed that he had creative control over the entire thing. So that is part of the conspiracy, where people are like, why did he say at first that he was given guidelines?
Right.
Okay, riddle me this.
Yeah.
I know that this is, an artiste. I know that this is the way that he does things. Okay, great. But you're not going to tell me that they are going to invest $100,000 into an artist and not have any guidelines whatsoever.
I do think that there were guidelines in place, but I don't think that they're as crazy as people are assuming they would be. There's probably stuff like just don't draw any dicks, no blood, no drugs. And because if you look in the painting,
like swords, guns, and then children are fine.
Yeah, but the soldier is stabbing to death, but there's no blood.
Baby, but there are dead children. In the other murals, there are coffins.
To be, though.
No, there are coffins with dead children in the next painting.
They didn't say anything about that.
I don't, if some,
But they had to have known what kind of an artist he was when they hired him, because you're not going to hire, say, you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to hire J. Cole because I think he can make this country song for me.
I mean, you could.
Well, why?
I mean, it's not.
So
I'm just saying
they had an idea of what he brought to the table.
I think that they had more of an idea than people want to admit about what is in those murals. And I want to know why. Why is that? You could have put pictures of planes, bitch. You could have put, Rocky Mountains and landscape. Why you gotta do this?
And then what, we'd be doing a conspiracy theory about why there's airplane pictures in the airport?
Exactly. Why are they pointing east and not west? You know what I mean? We could have been talking about something completely different. This is very morbid and very weird.
Paintings. And then the second
painting. They are beautiful paintings. I am not taking away from this man's creativeness and his skill, because, God, these are beautiful paintings. But... the appropriateness in this airport, I just don't feel like it's there. And also, I just feel like there were way other, more eye-catching things for an international airport to have on its walls. That's all I'm saying.
They could have went a different way.
Yes, they could have.
But I'm kind of glad they didn't.
And DIA continues. They could have done it a different way many, many times. Let's move on. Okay, so that's the artwork.
The second painting, though, the one where he depicts the destruction and the industrialization of the world, and it's more of an environmental piece where the world is pretty much on fire and birds and animals are in cages. Then in the second half of the painting,
and then dead.
Yeah, and dead
with children
allegedly
in coffins, dead
allegedly
in coffins.
Okay.
And
then the second half is there's sunshine. Their animals are alive.
Oh man!
All the kids are around this mysterious glowing flower.
But what does the flower represent?
Hope and a
People
new beginning.
think that the flower represents the new world order.
Is it like their logo?
Maybe.
Man,
you would know, you're a part of it. So
they're doing if this is such a secret society, they're doing a great job of branding.
Look, it's a wonderful branding. You had
it's doing great. This marketing is great.
Great design specialist.
Yeah, but back to the painting. They did take down the paintings though for construction, allegedly.
For a little bit. They're back up.
Are they back up?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that they went back up.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
They went back up. So, because it wasn't too long ago that I got my friend Christina from the airport. Do you remember when she came in for my bachelorette?
Right.
When I went to go get her from the airport, and this was in 2018. The paintings were there. I actually stopped and saw them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So they're back up.
People thought they took them back because people were finding out too much.
They were getting a little too close to the conspiracy.
Like the New World Order was like, I'm going to put this here so they know. And people start finding I'm going to take that back.
They're smarter than we thought.
Yeah. A little felt cute.
So there's that. And also let's talk about the budget. The other conspiracy is in regards to why this was so expensive, why they needed $2 billion extra than the original cost price. Mm-hmm. And with the construction of the airport, there apparently were 5 buildings that were fully constructed. And somehow, some way, there was something wrong with the construction of these buildings. And instead of breaking them down, instead of, just trying to maybe make them work or moving them around, they decided to completely bury them. These fully constructed buildings, and they have them underground. Yeah. There are hundreds of miles worth of underground tunnels beneath DIA that was originally built for a fast-paced baggage
automatic
type
system.
of system where it had conveyor belts and it could, have your bags travel from terminal to terminal seamlessly. But this thing was a complete failure. You had bags dropping all off the conveyor belt, people's things getting all lost. So the bones of that old system are still under there, not being used. There are hundreds of miles worth of hallways not being used. There's like chain link fences down there. There are just weird areas down there
I do wonder,
that are unused.
Like, I do wonder what the construction mistake was, or what that mistake was that led to them burying it. Like, because as somebody who's worked in construction for a lot of years, I would be curious to know, like, what was it where they're like, just bury this shit?
And that's the thing. I remember, going to David because he has worked in construction, and I was like, in what situation or circumstance would your lead decide, hey, we're just going to go ahead and scrap this, meaning we're going to go ahead and bury it?
Let me tell you something. It would not even be that simple. What I think would happen was, so the DIA is obviously funded by the government.
Right.
So, like, as far as privatized buildings where you have private owners, that if that were to happen and they're like, if they had to tear down a building, they would either, it wouldn't happen that fast, because I think it would go into, there'd be lawsuits, it would go into court, and so I think it would very much be delayed and maybe not even happen. And if worst case scenario, they would just tear the building down.
But never bury. In all of your years in construction, you've never heard of a building being buried.
I've never heard of anybody burying an entire building.
Much less 5.
Yeah, no,
that's
5. Insane.
5 buildings.
That is insane.
In addition to these hundreds of miles worth of tunnels that are not being used. So,
definitely
there are some more nefarious conspiracies that are, that are connected to this. The lesser is that maybe this is a bunker for presidents, for mayors, governors, for Supreme Court justices, for people in power and politics in the event of an apocalypse. That's something that's like not that,
I wouldn't even
that crazy, and that's the aspect that I feel like is not a conspiracy. I feel like, Colorado, if you really think about it, is so in the middle of the country. The hurricanes aren't touching us. Like, we're very blessed climate-wise here.
We just get fires.
Yeah, we get fires a lot. We get very dry weather here. But the mountains create a perfect safe space.
Yeah, it's like a fortress kind of.
Yeah, and people are, building bunkers in the mountains. And I could see that. Military. I could see if, yes, there's a lot of military bases here. So I could see that if they're using maybe DIA as maybe like a hub to protect the important elites if something like that happened. Definitely. And it was also said,
I can't remember what the comment, but yeah, there was a comment that's gonna missed us by like 27 miles.
Yeah, it was miles. In reality, it was by just a little bit. The comet was about to hit us, and we would have been, it would have been like
no wind, no nothing. Like spin us around a little bit. Yeah.
So,
like, man, this day went by fast. It's because that comet flew by.
Flew by. So apparently, it said that when that comet was, scheduled to hit the Earth, that Obama was actually in town in Denver, and they feel as though he was here to slip him into the bunkers in the event that, we all got hit with a comet and they wanted him to live. So there's that. I don't feel like, my level of like believing this conspiracy isn't that deep, but in as far as, could this be a hub for important people? I could see that. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense why it is so big. It makes no sense why there's so much area being unused down there.
I think what they wanted to do was kind of give themselves room to grow. So that's why it's kind of located where it is located, I think. And then the runways are spaced out so that you can have a plane on every runway at the same time going parallel simultaneously, because I think there's some sort of rule or code or something where if the runways aren't a certain amount of space apart from each other, that I guess airplanes can't go simultaneously parallel with each other. So they fixed all that with the runways that they have now, so you can operate every one of them at the same time.
So let's talk about the runways. I'm going to put a picture up here for you guys. This is another conspiracy. If you look at this aerial view of the Denver International Airport, without any sort of context, you may see something that a lot of other people see when looking at it without any other information around it, and that is a swastika. There are so many people that see that. I'm not gonna lie, it came to mind when I saw it.
Oh, for sure.
And the airport commission stated that it is not meant to be that shape, that it was supposed to represent a pinwheel for the exact reasons that you just stated, for, simultaneous landing, simultaneous takeoffs, and, being able to have more than, a few flights going in and out at a time, which does make it a very busy and effective airport. Yes. There's so many flights, and it's international, so I get that. Yeah. But it is shaped a little odd. I don't know if I necessarily believe that it was supposed to be that.
Like they presented it like scientists. They're like, all right, so this is going to be the most effective way mathematically and scientifically and physically way to go.
Yeah.
They're like, that's great. Bad side is from the sky, it kind of looks like a swastika. It just happens to be the most effective way scientifically.
So if anybody asks, just say it's a pinwheel.
Hitler was on his own, I guess. I don't know. And then that's the other thing is, why do people think that the New World Order are like Nazis are gonna like run the world? These motherfuckers already lost. They lost.
That's true.
Nazis, like, why are you afraid of like Nazis come back? Like, all right, we'll just fuck them up again. Like, come back like Nazis are back. Like, oh, okay. But they've been working out.
they've been getting their shit together, okay?
Oh, no shit.
They've been getting organized.
Dude, they've been watching YouTube videos.
They've been watching all the tutorials.
They're good. They have some good draft picks. They got a new front office in there. They're looking pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised they beat you in this world war. I wouldn't get too comfortable. Clearly there's something there, and I believe in conspiracies.
Weird about it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. There's something weird about it. So let's keep going. So we have the aerial view that kind of looks like a swastika, but they say it's a pinwheel, so we're gonna go with that. Okay,
it does look like a swastika,
and it definitely does. So besides that, there were claims that there's barbed wire around the airport, which makes sense. It's their, a lot of land. They don't want people, going where they're not supposed to. But it was said to have the barbed wire facing like inward instead of outward, as though trying to keep people in and not out. Yep. And people use this as maybe evidence of the DIA
concentration camp
going to be a concentration camp, because it's so big. It could house many people. There's all this, all these tunnels and places underground that you could house people and put people in cages. There's chain link fences down there. So people are, maybe they're like, what is this? Like, why? And
people also think that down in those tunnels that they're also gas chambers.
I've heard that
there's pipes that run through it. But it's probably just sprinkler lines.
And I think you told me that, because I was like, wait a minute, does this make sense? And it's actually really helpful that you worked in construction, that you were able to like identify
maybe
that.
But it could just be sprinkler lines that are mandatory in every building. So.
I mean, I guess it's just like maybe like buildings that are necessary, but this is like a building that's not. So this is super weird.
I am really curious to know what happened where they're like, we just gotta fucking throw these buildings away.
Right? Well, it turns
throw the whole buildings away.
It turns out people, going to DIA in person, there is barbed wire fence, obviously, but it is not facing inward. It is facing outward the way it's supposed to. So that conspiracy has been squashed already. Yeah. So moving on, okay? So there's DIA. There's like New World plaque in the front with like the so you have a time capsule there. Yes. You have some murals that are a little weird, a little morbid.
They're making me think a little bit too much. I'm trying to catch my flight, and I'm here trying to pick apart this painting, trying to figure out what it means.
Is it the New World Order? Is it not? Is it like a yes? It's just too much.
Should I worry about this
right now? Then
is it worth getting on my flight? Should I worry about
right? Then you have the runways that look like swastikas.
Word.
Then you have these tunnels that are not being used for anything. Mm-hmm. Moving on, right outside of the airport on Pena Boulevard.
Yeah.
When you fly in, y'all know, and if you don't know, I hate statues so much.
Yes.
And when I flew in to this damn airport, I didn't even see it when I flew in. I'm not going to lie. Mm-hmm. But we drove past this. Oh, my God. Yeah. It was the creepiest, scariest, bone-chilling thing that I had ever seen. Mm. And he is called Lucifer.
Well, it's supposed to be called the Blue Mustang.
They call him Lucifer.
Yes.
Because this fucking thing, huge. He's like, I want to say
9,000 pounds.
9,000 pounds. He is blue. He is veiny. Okay, he got bulging
like this.
Veins everywhere. And he does not look like a nice horse. And he's like, rearing up on his hind legs.
Yeah, I just did.
And baby, but this is a podcast, baby. They can't see your little beard.
I forgot about you listening.
David's doing like this weird, like puppy dog stance, and he thinks it looks like a horse, and it's not.
You'll get it when you see it.
So it's reared up, but what makes him extra special, creepy, is that he has glowing red eyes. And when I tell you glowing, they put red LED lights.
I did not know that they were LED
in his eyes. I did not know that either, but I was like, there has to be something because they are so bright. It's not even just like, oh, they're like a little red at night.
Right, it's like
it is like flashlights of red.
Yeah. And I was always like, is that like marble or something?
Yeah,
or
it is ruby? So it is not like inviting. It's
and
not
people
welcoming.
are afraid of the lights. But I'm just like, I didn't know they're LED lights. Maybe we should take the remote from Julian's lights in the room. I'm like, has anybody thought maybe you just change the color? Like,
yeah, see if we can control
what
it.
What color you want? Do you want blue eyes? You want green eyes? Like,
right?
What color eyes do you prefer your horses to have?
Anything but that, because it is very creepy. So the horse in itself is creepy. It is not a welcoming figure. Like, that is not something that, is welcoming to people that are coming into DIA for the first time. But I marked it off as, it's a Broncos thing.
Yeah, that's what I always thought.
That's what I thought. But it actually has nothing to do with the Broncos. There was an artist that created this horse, and he was actually well known. Jimenez, yeah. Mm-hmm. So he was a Latino artist.
I think it's Luis Jimenez, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, we'll have to fact check that. Right. So this artist had done works before with large sculptures. That's what he specialized in. He actually has a sculpture outside of the Smithsonian. So he was very well known. And the New World Airport Commission hired him and paid him $600,000 to construct this sculpture of this horse. So he started on construction. Keep in mind, he's done this a million times. And apparently, part of the horse came off and hit him in the leg and severed an artery in his leg, and he died.
Yeah.
Because of the horse.
Yep.
Okay? The horse was then completed by his son, and that is the horse that is standing out front our airport right now. That is Lucifer. He done killed his creator.
The horse was 13 years overdue because they kept delaying it.
Oh, yeah.
So it was already late as hell. Mm-hmm. The horse was. The whole sculpture was. And people think that something happened. Either the horse is cursed or he was set up, maybe murdered.
Some people say that the horse has the spirit of the artist inside of him.
Maybe.
And that's why he has glowing red eyes.
Maybe, but I'm thinking if you're dealing with a structure that big, then obviously there's some construction elements to constructing this big ass sculpture. Because it's almost as big as a building. Mm-hmm. And so
9,000 pounds.
And people are like, yeah, he did this a million times. Well, in construction, that is a hazard. If you've done something a million times, what happens? You get complacent, you start cutting corners, and it makes sense that he was being rushed because it was so late that he cut some corners and he made a mistake that ultimately he couldn't come back from.
Yeah, so kind of digging into his background a little bit with this artist, it turned out that he was going through medical issues and health issues at the time that was causing him to miss deadlines with this Mustang, and it got to the point where he was being sued by the city because they had already paid him and they either wanted the money back or they wanted the horse now. And so I could very well see that he may have been in a rush and cut some corners. Yeah. But at the end of the day, this thing killed its creator.
Crazy. That is a crazy story.
And it is standing right in front of DIA. And it is the creepiest looking thing.
I always thought it looked cool to me. And like you said, I just always assumed it was because of the Broncos. I was like, it's a Broncos.
Definitely not.
So, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so if you were ever wondering about Lucifer, he actually doesn't have anything to do with the NFL. He has nothing to do with the Broncos. He is not no mascot, okay? No. He is, you better take him seriously because you never know when he's going to strike again. And that's why I don't mess with statues, you see? They're deadly.
He wasn't even done yet.
They are deadly. See?
There's no way.
That's why you shouldn't be messing with shit.
You never see a movie where a half-built statue comes to life.
Well, look at what happened.
Maybe.
Next, we have some little friends in the baggage claim area. Have you ever seen them? They're gargoyles.
Oh, I never saw them in person, no.
They're these stone structures. They're gargoyles, and they're like on a higher up pillar inside of baggage claim areas, and they look like they're sitting in suitcases, and they're gargoyles. They're not like, teddy bears. They're kind of creepy looking.
Yeah, they look mischievous.
Yes, and
no good.
One of them's like this, it's just very weird.
Like they'll put your toothbrush in the toilet.
Yeah, kind of thing. Or like they're like the Sour Patch Kid. Like that's what they look like. But they are creepy, but they're said to be like the guardians of your baggage, apparently.
Yeah, you remember the show Gargoyles?
Yes.
The cartoon?
Yes. And I remember the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, see, all those gargoyles were cool as fuck.
I did not mess with them. I don't care. They're kind of statues. I don't care. And guess what? They could move. They could talk. I know that they were nice and everything. That was really weird.
That made me comfortable.
I can't do it.
Why did they make the Hunchback of Notre Dame into a kids movie?
I know.
Who thought that was a good idea?
I don't know, but if you think about it, a lot of the shows that we watched as kids are really dark.
Like, there's no way that movie could be released today as a kids movie. Like, what happened? Like, I got this good idea for a kids movie. You heard of the guy that does Les Mis? Victor Hugo. Right. Check this out. In the beginning, it starts off with a whore getting killed, and then this guy adopts this monstrosity of a baby and just verbally abuses it forever. Then he makes friends with gargoyles.
He lives by himself. Yeah.
That'd be good for the kids.
We should probably do an episode on the dark movies and shows that we watch.
You should. That's
we really
idea,
should.
actually.
Let us know if you guys are interested in that.
Okay, so the gargoyles popping out of... I'd be pissed. I'd be like, fuck, this isn't my gargoyles on a different fucking planet.
It's just it's a little thing. Some people have added that to the conspiracy that this is just like a really weird and dark airport.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of dark art in there. I kind of like it though.
I mean,
you don't like it?
I don't mind it, but I see why people are concerned with it.
I'm personally glad that they went with meaningful art.
They could have gone with meaningful art in other ways.
That
doesn't depict death. That doesn't depict famine. That doesn't depict cities burning. That doesn't,
I mean, that's all stuff that has happened. Like he's not portraying some dystopian, oh my God, could you imagine if this shit happened? Like,
honey, there are so many things that have happened on this earth that are terrible that we should not be depicting.
Okay, that's fair. That's a good point. Yeah, you're probably right. They could have went a different direction.
Like, of all the things. But fine, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's as, dark and sinister as people make it seem.
Yeah.
But now, lastly, I want to talk about these plaques in the floor of the airport, one of which is actually located directly in front of one of the murals. And it has the elements on there of AU and AG.
Yep.
What do those represent?
One of them. Oh, you mean really?
Yes.
Gold and silver.
Gold and silver, exactly. So that just looking at it, that's immediately what people see.
But it's like in a mining cart.
Right. That's what it looks like. It's in a mining cart. Some people believe that that's actually a symbol for a really terrible, it's a strain of hepatitis and it's airborne.
I don't remember what it was called. Guy who created that strain of hepatitis, people thought that he had a tie into the New World Commission or something like that, right?
Yep.
So they're trying to make that connection. I was just like...
And they said that so conspiracy theorists believe that there's a reason why they put this symbol so close to that portrait to let people know that he has a gas mask on, because this shit's going to be released out into the atmosphere and all y'all gonna die. Because it's a deadly strain of hepatitis. And so what do you think about that? Do you think that that's sinister? Do you think, or no. Now let's keep in mind, Colorado it was the hub for mining back in the day. That is why millionaires were moving here. If you guys looked on my channel, we did actually a video on Riverdale, the man that was the main subject of that story actually moved here with, he was a wealthy man and he moved here solely for the mining opportunities. So it's, rich gold and silver and, so it could be because Colorado is known for that in the mountains.
I worked on it.
Or it could mean that, it's a
I think it has to do with that. I really do.
Strain of hepatitis.
I don't think it has to do because the other thing too was like that dude that made that strain of hepatitis, he was like, all right, yeah, I made all the diseases I want to. Now to follow my real dream, get into airports.
Yeah.
Why?
Build a nice airport.
But apparently there has been no proof that guy has any connection to the airport.
Yeah, there's no
so I'm just like,
hard evidence of any of these things tying together and really pointing to the New World Order or any sort of, apocalyptic plans. I do think that DIA is way too big than it should be. I think that maybe it is a $2 billion airport, but I'm wondering where the other $2 billion went.
There's something there for sure.
There's right.
There's too much money for there to not be.
Yeah,
I
think that maybe they're building other things underground. Maybe. I think that maybe they're, and I don't know if it's necessarily with the plan in mind to destroy humanity. I just think that it's about saving their ass and not ours. And
it's people think it's a population control bunker. Pretty much.
And I don't know if I believe that necessarily, but I want your thoughts on this because, I think that there are elements to DIA that maybe we have missed or maybe we didn't dive too deep into, but I think we're running up to an hour here.
Before we do that, as you all know, that Friday was the 13th.
Yes!
And in 2020,
Friday the 13th.
No less.
Yeah.
So,
I'm surprised we lasted. We lived through it.
Would you consider yourself a superstitious person?
In certain ways, yes. Yeah.
What are some of your superstitions that you have personally?
I don't like walking under ladders, and I don't like, how if we're walking down the street and there's a pillar, I don't like us going separately around it.
Oh, yeah.
I need us to go one way or the other. Exactly. We can't split it. If I don't... The mirror thing, I think, I don't like messing with mirrors.
Breaking mirrors.
Yeah, breaking mirrors. And I don't look in mirrors at night.
Me neither.
I refuse.
Me neither. But I'm going to be honest, I have walked underneath so many ladders.
David, why?
Because I worked in construction.
Oh, God,
and ladders are everywhere. And sometimes the only way to get to where you need to go is underneath a ladder. And the first time I had to do it, I was like,
okay, baby, but you've actually had bad luck.
Explains it. But,
like straight up.
Well, yeah, maybe I need to do something to balance it out. So
don't be walking under ladders.
I have a couple of superstitions that I want to go over with you to see if you've heard of them or if you believe in them.
Okay.
And feel free to comment down below if you've heard of these or what your thoughts are on them. Or if you have any superstitions that I don't mention, please feel free. This one I do believe, or kind of I do follow, is do not place two mirrors opposite of each other. So creating like the infinite reflection thing. I've never done it because it's always made me feel uncomfortable. But apparently, it's the infinite reflections are believed to be a doorway for the devil.
Really?
Yeah. So people in Mexico believe this. So they believe that having the infinite reflection creates a doorway for the devil to come in.
Oh no! Then we're not doing that. No.
But have you ever thought about that? Have you never? Really?
No.
I was like, no, that's weird.
I've never thought about that. Wow.
Never stick your chopsticks straight up.
Why?
Apparently, poking chopsticks down is a big no-no in Japan because they look like an unlucky number, which is number 4 in Japan. So when you put them down like that, I guess it resembles that number. So they believe that that's bad luck. And then also, don't point your chopsticks at people.
That's not point your chopsticks at. That's rude.
What about this one? Give a penny if you've received something sharp.
Give a penny if you receive something sharp. Like what?
Like a pair of scissors or knives.
And where do you put the penny?
I don't...
Who are you giving the penny to?
You give it back to the person who gave you the knife. Because apparently a blade can supposedly sever a relationship. So if you value the relationship with that person, you give them a penny. And I guess giving somebody knives or scissors as a gift is bad luck.
Okay, but I like me a good set of knives, so like, don't let that stop you from gifting me a good set of knives.
Well, no, that's fine. You gotta give a penny back. I don't know. I guess makes it an even. I don't know.
You know how many times I have to ask you for scissors to like open things? I'm not gonna have a bunch of pennies in a little bag and a little, satchel, and I'm like, oh, hey, you gave me the scissors. Yeah. Thanks. Let me give you a penny.
What the fuck is this? Don't go right home after a funeral.
Why?
Apparently it's a Filipino tradition, and it's pretty much says that if you go home after a funeral, there could be a bad spirit that might tag along and follow you home.
I feel like I've heard of that somewhere, but we have not listened to that.
My whole thing, like, if you go, say we're like, oh, what are you doing after this funeral? Like, I'm going home. Like, no, don't do that. Come with us to Chipotle. And then the spirit will have to be forced to get off here. Like, hey, man, you gonna come with me to this guy's home? Nah, bro, I only got one stop. This is where I gotta get off at. So just spending eternity in Chipotle. Which, by the way, is a dream for me. Right? I'm like, where can I be that spirit?
You wouldn't even like try to haunt me or come find me. You'd go right to a Chipotle.
Wherever there's burritos, I'm there.
Okay.
So it's kind of, I'm not trying to make fun of their superstition, but
yeah, that's different.
It doesn't check out to me. I feel like a spirit could be like, I'll just wait.
Right? I got you next time.
Yeah, you got to go home eventually.
Yeah.
So I'm not really...
I feel like I've heard that, though.
Avoid sleeping with your head to the north. Have you ever heard of that?
No. I'm thinking if I do that, but I don't. So why?
We
sleep with
east.
our head to the west.
Wait. Yeah, west. Wow. You're right.
Directionally challenged.
I was trying to think of where the mountains were. You're right.
I know I'm right.
You're right.
Per you.
Well, according to Japanese superstition, sleeping with your head in this direction is bad luck because that's how the deceased are laid to rest. So do not sleep facing north.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Weird.
Avoid sleeping with your head to the west.
Oh my God. Where can you sleep with your head?
We're just going to have to sleep standing up. Stick with me. I'll show you the way.
Shut up.
I don't know which way.
You and my best friend have like terrible sense of direction.
Who, Khadijah does?
Mm-hmm. She has terrible sense of direction.
I'm telling you, man, when you've lived here your whole life. If I got lost
with Khadijah, we would be lost forever.
Like if you've lived here your whole life pretty much, your sense of direction is shit if you go anywhere else.
Yeah.
You're just kind of spoiled. Mm-hmm. In Africa, somewhere, if you sleep with your head to the west, it's bad luck.
No reason?
No reason was given. They just said it was bad luck.
Okay.
So we just got to sleep standing up.
Got it. Yep.
I guess.
It helps with the blood flow anyway, so we'll just go ahead and do that.
There's an Egyptian superstition that if you see or hear an owl, terrible news is coming.
I hear owls. I've heard owls before.
I hear owls. Yeah. I've never seen one, though. I don't think I've ever seen one.
They are very mysterious.
I mean, they're nocturnal. So.
Yeah, they're nocturnal.
And I'm asleep
I love owls.
by 9.
Every day.
So we're just missing each other, really.
Yeah. I think owls are cute.
Yeah, they're great. Some days are dumb. Don't get a haircut on Tuesdays. It's worse luck if I don't get this haircut.
Right? You guys share, what are some of the weirdest superstitions that you believe in or that your family believes in? There are some crazy Mexican superstitions and like beliefs that I think that would be like kind of cool for us to go over in our next episode.
Yes.
Like what our families believe, like that are the same, and some things that might be different from each other. What do you think? Because I can get a hold of my grandma tomorrow, because she believes in, like, there's so many things that Mexican grandmas especially.
We're going to talk about La Llorona.
La Llorona. We can talk about La Llorona.
Ooh. Oh, here's another one.
Okay.
Go to the hospital on Wednesdays. An old wives' tale states that the best day to go to the hospital is, in fact, on hump day.
Why?
I don't know. Is that when the good doctors work? I don't know.
It's midweek. I don't know. Everything's balanced.
Like if I get shot on Tuesday, I'm like, I gotta wait.
You gotta wait until Wednesday because
it looks really
you're gonna
bad.
have shit luck today.
Yeah. No. Yeah. If you get shot on Tuesday, you're like, oh, if I wait, I'm gonna have bad luck.
Yeah, exactly.
You already got shot. Just go to the hospital.
Tomorrow, so I don't have bad luck.
I think your luck's
just sitting there bleeding.
Like I think your luck's already shot. To go.
Hey. That is it for today's episode, you guys. Thank y'all so much for coming to join us for episode 10. This was so much fun. I love talking about conspiracies, superstitions, just like kind of weird things here and there. Don't forget, thank you to our sponsor, Adam and Eve. Definitely check them out, adamandeve.com. Again, our code is his and hers. You can get 50% off one item plus free shipping anywhere in Canada and the US, baby. Don't forget, also, if you are new here, definitely hit that subscribe button. We would love to see you back here every single Monday, because that's when we upload. Hit that notification bell so you're not missing out on any new episodes, and make sure you follow us on social media. You can find us at the HISXHERS Pod on Instagram. You can find me at Nikki Glamour on Instagram, Twitter at the Nikki Glamour,
and I'm on Twitter and Instagram at David Cisneros. It's the same for both.
Thank y'all so much for being here. We love y'all. We have so much fun talking to y'all, and we will see y'all to start your week off right on Monday. Peace out.